I'm James.
And I'm Dan.
We're the Ragamuffins.
And we want to know what makes a perfect gig.
Today, we've got Jessie from Dream State. Enjoy. So, we're here with Jessie from Dream State. So, thank you very much for joining us, first of all.
Thank you so much for having me.
So, we're going to hear about your perfect gig today. But first, we'll just kind of kick it into gear. I'd like to know what the first gig you ever went to was.
My first ever gig I went to, I'm pretty confident, was at the Milton Keynes Bowl.
Okay, big venue.
Yeah, my dad dropped me and my school best friend off because we were too young to get a train, and we went to see. I'm pretty sure it was Green Day headlining, and we got dropped off at Milton Keynes Bowl, and literally my dad was like, you go to the concert. I know what time it finishes, and you come back to the car, and we were just kids. I think I was 14, and I was let loose in this bowl, and we definitely got alcohol, and it was definitely really fun. And yeah, I'm pretty sure it was Green Day that headlined it, and honestly, I still think about that show. It was when everyone was at their prime of their voice, and there was just punk rock kids everywhere. So yeah, that was my Milton Keynes Bowl, Green Day.
Which album were they supporting at that time?
Oh my God. Now you're asking. It was a very, very long time ago, but I'm not 100% sure. But I just remember lots of Grebos there, and just it's definitely Green Day. I can't remember the album. I can't even remember what I had for breakfast. So, but yeah, sure, it's Green Day at the Milton Keynes Bowl.
An incredible first gig.
Was there a particular point in that gig where you were like, yeah, this is what I want to be doing. This is really cool. Being around these kind of people.
Yeah, I mean, I was apparently, according to my mom, I used to be obsessed with Guns N' Roses. So I've been on stage since I could walk. I sang in church since I was 3. In the cathedral and stuff. I'm classically trained in opera, so I've always been on stage. And oh my God, apparently since I was a little kid, Mom said I heard I think it was Sweet Child of Mine or something like that, and she said I used to literally stand in the kitchen with a broom and do the hip movements, and everyone since I could walk has been she was born to perform type mentality. And I certainly think I wasn't good at anything in school apart from acting and singing, so I'm really grateful for the teachers and the people in my life that sort of push that more. I'm not academic, but if you give me a stage, I'll tear it up if you let me.
So going from your first ever gig to your perfect gig, who opens the night for you?
I'm going to say Dream State, because what a way to just promote your own band. And from what the feedback I've had after playing the arena last weekend, we're a great opening act. So I'm going to say us, because we love any opportunity to play. I'm going to play. And so the first band would be Dream State.
Interesting. I think that's the first time we've had a perfect gig where someone has selected their own band. So I do like this.
I'm surprised it hasn't happened sooner.
That's not based on us being perfect. That's just based on me and the boys just itching to keep playing as many shows as we can.
It's a chance to kind of pick to support your dream band as well, isn't it? So yeah, why not put yourself on the lineup?
I mean, for that, would you have any specifics for your own set? Are there certain songs you want to play? Would it be all come from the upcoming EP, which we'll touch on later? What would you want to do with the set?
I'm really, how do I explain this without going on up in a tangent? But I feel really connected to some of the really OG songs, which is a big reason why I joined. So you've got your White Lies, your Primrose, your In This Hell. They're never leaving the set if I can help it. I love that I've kind of made the songs a little bit my own, but ultimately everything about them is sort of OG Dream State. And I know certainly when there's a lot of die-hard fans at the front, and I say it's going to be White Lies or Hand in Hand, it certainly gets a really good response. So yeah, I'm always going to keep in as much as the original content as I'm allowed. I love singing Monsters, In This Hell, Hand in Hand, White Lies. I love them all, to be honest.
Just list them all off.
Yeah, but I think I will keep. There'll always be White Lies and Primrose. Those two they just go off. Jesus Christ, no wonder the band went viral based on those songs. Amazing. always keep at least a couple of the old ones, because it's important. I think there's a lot of OGs at shows, like I say. Obviously, all of Untethered would go in there, like your Taunt. There's only 3 tracks, but like Taunt Me, Comfort in Chaos. And I've completely forgotten the other name of my own song.
What about anything? Would you put in anything from Still Dreaming?
Yeah, absolutely. The best is honestly yet to come, really, guys. Honestly, this is some of the best work. I think I can't speak for like old Dream State, but just like in terms of what I've ever personally delivered, this is some of the best work. I've got to work with Dan Weller on these, which is, like Shikari's producer. And I just think when you guys hear like this EP or this mini album, let's call it, I really hope it sort of solidifies to everyone that we really are, constantly growing as a band and evolving and stepping up. And we've had some of the best feedback I've ever had from music from these tracks. So yeah, you definitely get all of Still Dreaming in there. Obviously, as the months tick down and obviously the release date comes, you'll hear some of the songs, the remainder songs off that. So yeah.
Fantastic start. Already excited. And kind of while you've introduced that already, it's been just over a year since this new iteration of Dream State has kind of been put forth with that. So could you kind of give us a bit of an insight into entering into that, coming back after some time away, and also what's changed since you were kind of last on stage to how you are now?
Oh, these are great questions. Thank you for asking. I think looking back, I was approached on Facebook and asked if I would be interested to audition for a band. They were looking for someone who could sing, like pop, sing Katy Perry meets like Arch Enemy type vibe. And I was like, well, that is definitely my vibe. I wasn't a huge Dream State fan, like I'd heard of them, but if I'm brutally honest, I'd been trying for 10 years to make it. So when they just sort of catapulted when I retired, I pretty much resented them. I was like livid, because I was like, I can do exactly what this girl's doing. I've been trying to do it since I was 14, and I just never got there. Like I gave a lot of my time and energy to just make it, and I did some really cool things, which I can talk about at a later time. But yeah, so the process, they approached me on Facebook. I think all they wanted me to do was in my room, just do a couple of vocal takes of White Lies, Primrose, and another track, maybe Hand in Hand. And when I realized who they were and sort of like their bio and sort of the opportunity that this was, I thought, right, I've got choices here. I can just go in my room and smash it out here, or I can really like go above and beyond. Initially, just so you know, I wasn't going to take it. So I'd said to my husband, like, oh, this is amazing to be asked. I'm married now. I'm in my 30s. I think my time is done, actually. Like, I tried for so long to make it in the rock scene since I was a little kid, like really have. And, whether it be busking or open mics or whatever, like standing with my little guitar when I was like 12, singing to like Avril Lavigne, just trying to make it. So I wasn't going to do it, because I was like, we've just got a dog. Like, I'm married now. No one's going to want to watch someone who's close to their bus pass dropping down. And it was my husband, actually, who was like, Jessie, like, I met you. Like, we're like childhood sweethearts. We've been together like 16 years. And he was like, Jessie, I met you as a performer. Like, I met you as someone who had a guitar in their hand, was always writing songs, and you were so passionate about it. Like, I think you'd be doing yourself a bit of an injustice if you didn't at least audition, like give it a go. So I kind of was like, are you sure? Because I'm scared, like what if I get it and then it like opens up all these doors, like I'm not sure, and he was like, let's just stop worrying, let's just try it and see what happens. So I went all the way to Folkestone, which is like 5 hours from me, to my good friend Oz at Hidden Track Studio, told him about my opportunity with Dream State. I have a good relationship with Oz. Back when I was in Aurora, I was on the same record label as Feed the Rhino, and so I did a lot with them when I was a young kid.
Was that Small Town Records?
No, I was on In at the Deep End with same cool. Like that's like where Architects and Silosis sort of came from. And yeah, we got signed off our first gig. We actually supported Feed the Rhino, and we got signed the next day. It was pretty nuts. But But anyway, went up to Oz, did the tracks, and he was really happy for me. Like, I hope you get it. And then I've got friends at a place in Birmingham called Uproar, and they've got like a huge venue, and I've known them forever. They're like family, and like they kindly did like lights for me. And I got my friend Josh, who used to be in Aurora, to film me. And I basically did like what it would look like me live, of like White Lies, and I did this proper like performance. Anyway, paid a lot of money for not only recording, to travel, hiring a venue, sent all this stuff to Alid. And I remember him being like, oh my God, like I only thought you were going to do like a bedroom cover.
Yeah, I was going to say, you've gone all out.
Yeah, he's like, you've done 3 tracks mixed and mastered that sound like as good as the album, and you've gone into a fucking venue and showed us what it was. It was like, it wasn't me miming, it was me like live. And anyway, we started Zooming with each other like this, and it was like the 3rd time we'd met face to face on Zoom, and I kind of had to be like, sorry, have I got the gig? And he was like, yeah, of course you've got the gig. And I was like, sorry, you've never actually said. So I've just been like turning up on these calls, like he might tell me now, like, but he never actually said like, you've got the gig. He was just like, wow, like this is great. But he never said like, welcome to the band or something. So it was a very, what I think could have been something I'd done in my room. I went really above and beyond because I wanted to show them that I was like professional and that it meant a lot to me. So yeah, approached on Facebook, did this whole audition piece. And then the first time I properly jammed with Dream State face to face was like last summer, for the very first time. And we had maybe 2 practices as a full band. And then we played our first gig literally a year to last weekend. So we played Throwfest and we got given a main support slot to Counterparts.
Wow.
Yeah, the promoter.
No pressure.
Well, that's it. And the promoter who put that festival on, he remembered me from Aurora, and I opened up a lot of shows back in Aurora. And he was like, I'm so happy you finally got a chance to like kill it. I'll give you this, just putting my phone on charge. He's like, I'll give you this slot, like show him what you're made of. So anyway, long story short, he gave me this opportunity to play this slot. And obviously Dream State were a huge name, so he was happy to do that. And it went off. We played our first show this time last year to 400 people. Fast forward last weekend, I've just played to a couple of thousand with Funeral for a Friend direct. We didn't ask them. It was a direct invite from Funeral. They'd seen us play last year in Cardiff with Counterparts. And I think I definitely have made some, I think they were quite impressed with what we did. And I was on Sapnin podcast last year or earlier this year, and I was like, oh, it'd be a dream to play with Funeral for a Friend. They're like my favorite band. And it was almost like I manifested it on that podcast.
Try and manifest another one now. Are there any other bands that might listen?
When I give you my lineup, I'm hoping that's like a manifestation of but yes, so that's the story of it. Power of social media, and me taking a bit of a risk, a bit of a chance, putting all my eggs into it. And now my hyper focus is just solely on Dream State. I got made redundant, unfortunately, a few months ago. So I've taken that as a sign from the powers above to just go for it now. Like, I've got one chance, really.
I was going to say, when you auditioned, was there a feeling that was like, okay, this is the last shot, let's just give it everything?
Yeah, 100%. Like, I'm not stupid. Like, if I was in my 20s, I'd be laughing. I'd be like, oh, I could do this band and another one and another one. But unless we do a platinum album like Flyleaf and I start getting paid serious money, which just doesn't happen, no matter who you are, even Slipknot aren't doing like the sort of like Taylor Swift type money. Yeah, it would be my last go. This is my last go. And that's why I think I've got so much support from my husband and friends and family, because they're like, you've wanted this since we can remember. And it's like, my company I was at was so flexible. They were letting me go off on these last minute tours and do all these things. And then when I got made redundant, I just thought, do you know what? I've been doing a full-time job and a full-time band for a whole year, trying not to burn out. Shall I just take a year out? Like, it's obviously, I'm now what's called a starving musician for the first time in my life. we've all made sacrifices as a band to really give this 180%, because obviously Dream State at one point was about to be the biggest band in the UK. Like, it really was. It was about to like take off into the stratosphere, and now obviously with a 4-year sort of hiatus, it's very much a build back. So everything matters, like every single show, every encounter, everything we're doing matters. And it certainly matters to me being a woman. You know, I haven't got the luxury of still trying this in 10 years time. I'll probably be there with 2 kids drowning at home in washing, like, so I'd rather just look back and be like, I'm glad I give that a go, rather than sit there and think, what if I'd have just given that a bit of time? So yeah, no pressure for me at all, but yeah.
Well, it seems to be working out so far anyway.
I hope so. Thank you.
Let's get back to this lineup then. Who's you've played Dream State? You've played their set. You've perhaps been to the bar, grabbed yourself a drink. Who's following your set?
It's going to have to be Graphic Nature, isn't it? Really.
Wonderful.
Excellent.
We love this.
Absolute monsters. I mean, if you know, I mean, let's be honest. There probably should be a lot higher, but there's others as well that I'd like to. But I met those guys like this year, and there's a couple of the members I've met throughout my career, but like they've been nothing but like, firstly, gentlemen, like just genuinely lovely chaps, so supportive. Like, I come off stage and they're so friendly and complimentary, and just like, and every time I see them, like, I'm a hugger, and there's never a hug that they, you know, they just I always walk away from those boys thinking like that was a lovely encounter. And I just think they're extremely talented. They are so good. Like, Killing Floor has been one of my favorite songs for like,
oh, it's incredible. Mm-hmm. And what a 2023 they've had as well. They've just kind of gone and reached levels and levels and levels.
Yeah, I think like we've played so many festivals together this summer. Like, everything I've been on, they've been on, and like obviously they look like they had a storming time at like some other festivals they got to play, and you know, they're really fortunate. They've got a strong team around them, which is not something we've got, but they just seem to have everything, like, and they've all been doing it forever as well, like most people in the scene. I'm going to be keeping everything crossed for those boys, and always wave a flag, because not only are they talented, I think it is so important how you present yourself, and they just get like 5 gold stars from me. Just lovely people.
A bit like at Misery Loves Company, are you popping on stage as well? Are you having a quick feature?
It's got to happen.
To be honest, like, all summer they've kind of joked and been like, jump on if you want, and I've been like, no, let me just watch. And like, to be honest, I've never been able to get to the mic because it's always like a death pit. It's a hard one. I'm more of a spontaneous, like, I don't really think it, I just go and do it. So if it felt right and it wasn't like gonna cost me my life to get to the mic, then because it's just brutal scenes, which I bloody love, if I could get to it and it felt right, then I would. But I also can just sit back quite happily and just listen and enjoy those guys.
I mean, obviously we've only got the debut album, but could you give me 3 songs that you would love to have in that set in particular?
God, you're asking me now. Killing Floor, play it 3 times.
I mean, that's a good shout.
Just 3 times Killing Floor. Honestly, like, on the spot like that, I'm terrible with like thinking of all names and everything. Like, I'm not able to do that, so I'm just going to say Killing Floor.
But to be fair, start, middle and end, like a little kind of Killing Floor sandwich, I guess.
I mean, I wouldn't mind if the whole set was just Killing Floor. It's just an absolute fucking, it's just a boss.
Just an extended version.
Yeah, just like 6 minutes of Killing Floor. I'd be there for it. I'd be in the pit.
Yeah,
I think it would literally be a Killing Floor at that point.
That's it. That
would be dangerous.
Honestly, like, I wish I wrote that song. It's just genius. I love it.
So we caught Dream State's set at Burn It Down Festival in Torquay a little while back. We were blown away by your performance, but in particular, just the way you kind of held. It was like you were holding the crowd in the palm of your hand. You've kind of already touched on it, sort of being instinctive. But are there any ways that you kind of prepare for a live show, or is it all kind of feeding off the crowd's energy and just sort of off of instinct kind of thing?
These are such good questions. Okay, so a little bit about me. I'm completely straight edge. So when I joined Dream State, I made a decision to anything that wasn't going to serve me to be and show up for the best version of myself for this one last go wasn't going to happen. Sorry, my battery keeps saying it's going to go. So just a little bit about that. Yeah, completely straight edge. So I whereas I used to really not rely, but I'd be like red stripes at the ready, 6 cans, Dutch courage, let's go mental. It's been really surreal for me to play live completely sober. I've always thought I needed it, but actually, like, the feedback I'm having vocally and just in all sorts of ways, I just wish I'd have never relied on things like that. But it is, I mean, most people just a bit of Dutch courage, isn't it? So to answer your question, everyone laughs, so I hope I get an endorsement, but like Fanta, Fanta just sends me bonkers. So like, you give me a can of Fanta before I play, I'm high energy anyway, you're probably feeling it on the call. You know, I don't like to label things because I'm just me, but like, definitely some form of undiagnosed ADHD in here, but never had a diagnosis, not interested, I'm just myself. But give me a can of Fanta, there's no barrier too high for me to climb. Something happens to me when I go on stage. Like, my mum said it from a young kid, like, I was given like a microphone and a piano. Like, as a kid, like, you give me an instrument or a mic and tell me, and if it's loud and like heavy, you know, I just thrive. Like, I love it. So I would just say, as soon as I hear in my ear, like, go, it's like something switches. Because if you saw me pre-gig, I'm usually having a bit of a flat, annoying the lads with my anxiety, panicking a little bit, just trying to breathe, stretch, try not to get overwhelmed by everyone wanting to say, well, good luck. And I'm like, whoop, like, it's just chaos in my brain. So yeah, Fanta is a must. And if I don't have Fanta, I tend to get a bit panicky. Fanta, and just like you say, the crowd, I really rely on the crowd. So like, if they're being a bit weak, I will do everything I can, whether it means I have to jump for like 6 minutes to make them jump, and then I can't breathe, but I'm like, help a sister out. They tend to like feel a bit sorry for me dying, so they tend to like give me some. And then if they don't move, I'll just get in the pit and I'll just move a bitch, just move, you know. So Fanta and energy.
So it's Fanta and vibes, but if the vibes aren't there, Fanta and pity.
Fanta kind and pity, and a little bit of like, just a little bit of like, come on, I've driven 5 hours to be here, give me something. But I've been very fortunate, if I'm honest. Like, I say jump and they seem to say how high, and I don't know what that's about. So I'm like super grateful that they are so responsive, and I'm loving what I'm doing, and I think that does show. So I
mean, it came across to us at Burn It Down in particular.
Honestly, guys, I think when you just feel extremely grateful, like, I'm under no illusion I wouldn't have this platform without being in Dream State. Like, I have done some really cool things without Dream State's name, but I'm under no illusion that I wouldn't be getting these opportunities had Dream State not have had the success pre me. So I just feel extremely grateful to be given this window to just shine, and that's all I plan to do. Like, I want to leave every single venue I leave and leave some kind of mark, whether that's she's a good vocalist or she's a nice person. I can only be myself, and I rate myself. Like, this band has given me a lot of confidence back that I lost for many years, and yeah, I'm going to make sure I leave a stamp for sure, whether I bow out in a few years or whether I can do this for the next 10. We'll see. I'm just going to, show by show, I'm not going to overthink it too much, else I'd probably go a little bit loopy.
Just enjoy your time there.
Yeah, and may, you know, long may it rain, hopefully. I really do wish this could, well, this is my job now, and it's something I've wanted to say since I could remember. So yeah, I'm just going to make sure I keep being a high achiever in my job.
So we'll move on with your perfect gig in just a second, but firstly, we want to know, what's the first album you ever bought?
Do you know what? I don't remember the names, so please don't ask me. But I think it was like the Smurfs album. Do you remember when they dropped it? Like, you know, it was like the Smurfs did like a football song, and it was like, was it like football forever? Dun, 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 football again.
I seem to remember them doing a football song, but I don't. Yeah,
The tune's
I
not
don't.
there.
Yeah, it's not there for me.
Wow.
We'll have to look this up.
The Smurfs dropped an album when I was a kid, and I was right there.
You were there. I'm buying this. This is mine.
Honestly, it was like I still remember certain songs like an absolute banger. I hope the Smurfs, drop a new like remastered or like piece of it, but definitely it was a Smurfs tape. I'm telling you now, it was like something about football as well. I was mad about football, so
Dream State covering the Smurfs?
I would happily cover that stuff. I don't know how the boys would feel, but like I'd come on stage blue and just give it some. Do you know what I mean? We'll see.
That could be a good Halloween show.
That would be an amazing Halloween show. I wish I remember what it was called now. But yeah, it was like a Smurfs album, but it was on tape and it was sick.
Incredible. So we've had Dream State, we've had Graphic Nature. Who is your sub-headliner for your perfect gig?
It's the Smurfs, everybody.
How did you know? No, so is this like the main support?
Main support now.
Oh God.
You got 2 bands left. So there's your main support, and then we're at the headline act after.
Oh my God. Okay, I'm gonna say. This is gonna call. I'm gonna say Bring Me.
Bring Me. Okay, lovely. How did you get into Bring Me? What era? Like your kind of journey?
Like, keep an eye on my socials because I am dropping a Pray for Plagues cover. I did it when I was like 17 and it went off, and I want to do it again now, like a couple of decades on. I watched Ollie Sykes in a venue. I'm from Worcester, like a little place, and I watched Ollie Sykes in a tiny little venue to like 40 people with his bloody early drop dead hair, his little black skin ears, just like death metal till he died.
Some would say the prime Ollie Sykes.
My personal favourite, but I understand. I'm not going to be one of these haters like, oh, you've changed, get over it. People need to make money.
Bands progress.
Yeah, just like move on. My favourite era was like the death metal phase of that band, and I must have seen them at that sort of style more times than I've had like a can of Fanta, and that's a lot. And I fucking love them. Like I've still been to loads of his shows when he's at like an arena level now, because I just think what he's achieved is just nuts. And like back in the day, I used to like rep a bit of like Drop Dead stuff. Like back in day, I somehow got. I'm not a model, but like way back when, I used to have blonde hair, and I used to want to be like SJ, like, and yeah, I got a couple of t-shirts, and I used to be like. So yeah, just Drop Dead forever, really. Yeah.
Any specifics for their set then in particular? Because like we're looking towards the older era, or we want like perhaps a Suicide Season entire album playthrough, or a selection of songs from that kind of earlier time?
So like mix? I want a bit of death metal, but then I want a bit of like Drown. I want a bit of like, even like the new song they just dropped is just like, it is a banger. Like I'm happy for him to just surprise us with a variety, like you could be like over the decades with Bring Me, just
a history
of Bring Me. I'm not going to be upset. I do, like I say, I prefer the heavier stuff, but I'm also not offended if he wants to sing about, if he wants to sing with like A-list celebrities about it's just a bad day, not a bad life. It's good for him. Do you know what I mean?
Well, incredible gig. And we'll get to the headliner shortly. Just to talk about like upcoming, as you're calling it, mini album. Still Dreaming is coming out on January 26th. We've heard some singles like before, early this year, and now we're starting to get into this mini album singles. What's been the change since those early singles? What can we look forward to with this new mini album? And what's the recording process been like for you? Okay,
so the first EP you guys heard was actually pretty much done in this room here. It was early me joining, and Alid, he is like a genius. He had loads of tracks understandably written because there's a pandemic, so he had a lot of time. So he had loads of tracks written. Well, I say loads, enough for like the Untethered. He came here, spent the weekend, and I was like, I've got loads of writing. I've got loads of melodies. I've been out the scene a long, long time. And I was listening to his tracks, and I was like, oh, let me just like, I got my little like notes out, and I was like, let me just see if this melody goes here. And within like a day, we'd written like, so that Untethered is 3 tracks. In a day here, the first time me and Aled ever like wrote together, we wrote 2.5, like 2.5 songs of that EP in a day.
Wow.
And demoed it, because I think because he had tracks and I had ideas, I love a hook, like I love a melody, like I thrive on writing, and I have a lot of like, I think I've got a lot of like suppressed emotion that it's been really therapeutic almost for me to get out with like songs like Taunt Me, Comfort in Chaos, and there's a lot I've been able to like just get off my chest, which has been like really rewarding. And that was done here, and then we went to Oz again. He really wanted an opportunity to work with Dream State, and I sort of really asked the lads, look, I've got this relationship with Oz. I know that your producer is Dan Weller, but could we try this EP with Oz? And we were so pleased with everything he did for us. Like, we can't fault it. And then obviously, naturally, like, Dan Weller is the Dream State producer, so he, you know, he wanted to still work with us. So we felt like, for a band that has got like, not a window, but we're all trying to really like get back to where Dream State was when they were doing like the I Prevail and the Amity sort of tours. I thought it would be an absolute honour to work with Dan Weller, someone that I've admired since he dropped, you know, the remastered EP for Shikari back in the day. And he's been on my bucket list. I've worked with Dan Lancaster. Dan Weller was also always on my bucket list, so felt like it was like a moment for me personally to tick that off. So when we did Still Dreaming earlier this year, it's been back to back this year. I don't know how we've all kept full-time jobs and played festivals and dropped videos. We went up to London and we just headlined Loomfest in the April. As soon as we headlined Loomfest, we went straight to London and just got in the studio and got these songs down with Dan. And like the feedback he gave me, like not only like some of the writing that I've done or vocally, like he seems really like he was a pleasure to work with, like Oz, and he was so complimentary, like on certain things. Like he'd be like, I can't, like that's such a catchy melody, or he'd be like, oh, you need to change the line, and I'd just be like, can I say this? And he'd be like, this is brilliant, and like just felt really comfortable to work together. So yeah, we went to London earlier this year, bit of back and forth, went up to Marshall Studios as well, the boys did, to get like the drums and stuff down. There's a lot of people that were involved in it, which again I just felt really like honoured to be working with so much talent in the scene. But in terms of like instrumentally, that was all written by Aled, and obviously Tom does a lot of his own drums, and then like I'd say like 85% of the lyrics and melody are my own.
So talking about the lyrics, the lyrics on Still Dreaming come across sort of very sort of self-empowering. Is there sort of an inspiration or anything behind that?
Absolutely. I mean, for Aled, the song really is about, I guess, like when Dream State sort of had its changes and had its people leaving and had all of that sort of uncertainty. I think there were a lot of people in the industry that perhaps felt like it was done for Dream State, and that it was unsalvageable, and that perhaps, you know, like lots of people parted ways with Dream State when they obviously lost key members, and that's quite sad. And I think, so for Aled, I certainly think it's about any sort of doubters, and we all feel the same. Anyone that's sort of like naysayers that said this is done, don't bother carrying on. But actually, it's also on the flip side, I feel like this is about almost for the dreamers. So I've been really fortunate that our fan base that they call dreamers have really taken me under their wing. Like I can't turn up to a venue without being showered by gifts, or like I'm talking like handmade paintings that would have taken people like days. So it's for them really. Like I want something like, there's a lot of call and response in this song, which is like you mentioned, I really like the crowd interaction. I'd love to hear back like, you know, the whoa whoa whoas, and just have them feel like it's for them and they're singing with us. And so it's a bit of a mixture. Still Dreaming, it's about making a point that we are here to stay, also a bit of like, to the dreamers, like, thank you for still dreaming with us. And ultimately, as a band, it means very much like we are still dreaming. Like, it's like we are gonna keep going despite if people like it or not. We're here to stay. And I think for a band that's been completely DIY up until last month, I'm excited. Like, I don't know many other bands that have done the shows, sold out headline tours. I could go on, but I just think what we've achieved as a band that had absolutely no team other than us four, I think we should all be really proud of what we've achieved. So yeah, Still Dreaming is very much a solidification that we're here to stay, and we are still dreaming.
It's almost like we're still here and we have intent. Like, we want to like still carry on doing this thing as well,
driving forward.
The best is I'm going to just say, I really honestly think the best of us is yet to come. I just can't wait for things to just, for whatever's going to happen, to just start to be announced and dropped. And just, I'm very excited. Like, the fact that I think every sacrifice we're making, like, certainly for someone like me to, like, I've been in the corporate world for like 20 years, and to take a step away to just be like, I'm dedicated to this now, is a bit daunting with a mortgage and things. But actually, I feel confident that we could do this as a job. Like, I really do. Just looking at what we've achieved DIY. Imagine when we have a manager and a label. Like, we just got picked up by Atonal off the back of Radar Fest. And whilst we've had conversations with multiple other bookers, which we were so grateful to have that interest, it was a really good deal with Atonal. The vibe was really, really good. And, you know, we can only do so much DIY. Like, there's only so much festivals I can get us, or the band can get. And it actually has felt really nice to pass a baton on to somebody else, so I can just focus more on, well, all of us just focus more on like the writing and everything else. And it's felt really nice. Like, I've been really lucky that a lot of festivals have come to my inbox and I've managed them, and vice versa, like the Dream State inbox. So we feel like we're in really good hands with Atonal, and hopefully as the months go on, we can lock in management and a label, and just have like what other bands have got, like this team that sort of help them like grow. Because at the moment it's really hard to keep pushing on when there's just the band, really.
Yeah, it's almost like there's a ceiling kind of thing that's kind of stopping you going any further.
Yeah, so we were, like to say, it felt really right with Atonal, and like, yeah, it's just really exciting. Like, I think like the fact they've got like Rolo Tomasi, for me, I've been a fan of Rolo Tomasi since I could remember, and to be on the same booking agent as them, even if that's all I achieve, I'm like, I've made it. I'm basically Eva Spence now, you know what I mean? Like, I'm not, but no, fingers crossed that's a good move, and I'm really excited to see what they can offer us over the next coming months.
Anyway, speaking of bookings, your perfect gig needs a headliner. Who's it going to be?
That's a drum roll. It's going to have to be my all-time favourite right now. It's going to have to be Sleep Token.
Result. I'm pleased with that.
Right.
I know they don't really have like supports, so I guess this is my like manifestation. Like,
Vessel
and Co, if you're hearing this, if I could support, I watched him at Radar, and like I knew they were good. Like, I've seen them. I think they supported Architects. I'm sure I saw them with Architects.
Yeah, they did. They did it. Was it last year? Because we went to see them. It was Alexander Palace. They had Malevolence there as well.
I mean,
that was a show.
Sorry, so it was so tough. Malevolence are like up there with like one of my, I'm torn. I'm sorry, boys. You're smart. Like, I'm sorry, boys.
So many good bands.
There's too many. Like, I wish I could have chosen so many more like girls. Like, I could list you 5 or 6 great artists that are ladies. But Sleep Token, like, if I ever got a chance to, like, I watched like, you know, on his piano, and he is like world class. And I just think to myself, like, if I ever got a chance to like sing with him, like, his vocals are so beautiful, and I'm really inspired by how he holds himself on stage, how he does like an hour-long set just so effortlessly. It's just top tier music, and I think, yeah, my headlining act would be Sleep Token. That's just so I can say I've supported them.
What, any specifics for the set? Because obviously we've now got 3 albums out. Are there any particular songs throughout that you want to hear? Do you want to go back to EPs before the Sundowning? What would you like from Sleep Token?
Like I like their like I'm gonna try and remember names now because I'm terrible, but is it like Chokehold?
Chokeholds, yeah.
Yeah.
Is it like the
Summoning as well, yeah.
That one's a really good song. What else have they got? Like
There's loads on the new album that they haven't really been playing yet that I'm hoping, because I'm seeing them at the Wembley show in December. I'm hoping that, fingers crossed, they play like Take Me Back to Eden in full, the closing track maybe as well. Yeah, we'll have to see.
Yeah. Even like their earliest, I'm it's just his voice for me, and I like the whole mask thing. It's like a very like English Slipknot vibe, and I'm just here for it. Well, Welsh Slipknot vibe, and I'm here for it. So I think yeah, Sleep Token, I mean, they're always going to be top tier, aren't they? But they don't really have like support, do they? Really, I mean, they do, but not often. Like,
it's not in their usual kind of way a gig is kind of lined up.
Yeah, I think one of the main things that we noticed the first couple of times that we saw them is they didn't, like most bands, they'll have like some upbeat, almost like party anthems or some emo anthems coming on before their set, but Sleep Token just sort of had like just ambient sounds and like a blue glow.
They don't need any smoke and mirror. Like their show speaks for itself, and I'm again super inspired by what they are able to achieve and the captivation that they're able to hold, even like unmasked. Like I think a lot of people feel close to me live because I am so like I guess I'm really animated, and I'm really like, if the people want to high five me or people want to sing, I'm really like involved. But to be maskless and have that much like I couldn't, my jaw didn't shut. I was probably silent, which is unheard of for me for like the whole set.
But just taking it all in.
I was very happy to be there at the Radar on the Friday. I felt really fortunate to and someone I knew was like working, so I got to stand in like a nice little area, which, because I get, believe it or not, like I get extremely claustrophobic, so I felt really like comfortable where I was, and it's just like a gig to remember. So yeah, to answer your question, Sleep Token, top of the cherry.
Love it.
Top of the cherry. What did I mean?
Top of the tree.
The cherry on top of the cake.
Yeah, you go.
Wow.
I mean, we talked about gigs. You guys are heading out on tour this November and December with As December Falls. How are preparations coming along, and what can people expect if they're coming to see any shows?
Okay, so yeah, I literally leave home next week. So for me, I'm away from home a little bit longer because all the boys are based out in Wales. So I'll be heading up there next week. Obviously, we don't get to rehearse often because we live far away. So we're going to do obviously like rehearsal. And then I'll be getting my very first ferry, which I can't believe I'm actually going across the ocean to play like a show. Like I get really overwhelmed speaking about it. I think because we had the arena to look forward to for so long, I didn't have time to digest, like I'm actually going to Europe for like 5 weeks to play rock shows. So it had like, people are like, you've not taken it in yet, and I was like, no, I know I'm going, but I actually don't think I do. So anyway, to answer your question, we're gonna go do some rehearsal, which is really needed to make sure the set's tight. Quite happy to say that we'll obviously doing some of the old tracks, because there's a lot, because Dream State have already been out to Europe a number of times. There is a huge following out there for Dream State, so it's important that we don't just want to play a show and have people be like, I didn't know any of those songs. So we want to make sure that the OGs get a bit of like something they can sing along to. But what's really weird is like the more shows I play, the more people are singing like Taunt Me, the more people are like screaming like my songs, and I'm like, what? So maybe they'll surprise me. But yeah, you can expect old and new, and as always you can expect like high energy from us all. And just like I want to meet as many people. Like I'm so excited. Like I've got so many messages of fans that have like, I've got presents for you, or I've got this for you. So I'm looking forward to meeting everybody. I speak to a lot of people online. There's a huge trans community across Europe that I seem to just connect with everybody, and I've got a huge amount of people. Like, my inbox is always popping with fans of I don't know what the best way to describe it is, but like, they've got no gender, or they're trans, or perhaps they're non-binary and that kind of thing, and they all seem to really connect with my songs, which I do appreciate, because I had like gender dysmorphia for a long time, so perhaps they are resonating with my words in some ways. So I'm looking forward to just meeting all these lovely humans, and just having lots of hugs and photos. I love it when they're like, "Can I have a selfie?" I'm like, "Of course you can." Like, I get really like, what? I think this is all. I hope it stays like this for me, and I think it will. I can't be anything like but myself, but like, I still feel really like extreme gratitude for the position that I'm in. So I'll spend time talking to fans and having photos, even if probably like the boys are a bit like, "Jessie, you should maybe like warm down first," or whatever, but I just can't help it. Like, I just love being around everyone.
Just in that moment.
Yeah, I like, as soon as I come off stage, I just keep that energy high and just connect with everyone, and it's seems to be really paying off. Like, not only in like merch sales and things, but like, people just thank you, like the amount of messages I'll get after a show just thanking me for my time. And time is important. We've all got the same amount of hours in the day, and at the end of the day, when we come off stage, we are just people. So I think it is just so important to acknowledge, if someone's taken the time to come and speak to me, then I'm going to make sure I speak to them and make them feel seen and heard.
You've already kind of touched on it a few times in this chat, but sort of being welcomed back to the scene after being in it sort of years ago prior, how do you feel the scene is now, sort of in terms of diversity and inclusivity? Is it kind of made steps forward, do you think?
Oh my God, like, all I'm saying, boys, is if I had the same level of like welcome as I did 10 years ago, like if this was me 10 years ago, I'd be like, move over, like, we're gonna make it to the top. Like, if I was still 20 having this sort of welcome, the world, we would be doing this for the rest of our lives. Honestly, like, I used to be, I'd open, like, let's say the takedowns, the slam dunks. I used to be the band that would open these things, and I'd get good things. Like, I like, one show I played slam dunk, Jason Butler approached me and asked me to open up Birmingham for him. So like, I played with Let Live, stuff like that. But like, I just always felt like I had to, like, to play or do and be anything, I had to always be like, "I'll sell you 100 tickets," or I just felt like I had to, not beg, that's the wrong word.
Justify in a way why they'd have you?
Yeah, and it was almost like it would have to be like, they'd see me live somewhere and be like, "Oh shit, like, she's really good. She can open this festival." And then there'd be a lot of bands like for example, Heart of a Coward. I played with them 10 years ago and I was always the opener. And then this summer, I was like main support with them, and they were like, "This is where you should be. Like, you're an extremely talented girl. Like, this is where you should be." And all I'm saying is, like, a huge part of why I stepped left is because obviously you had your Marmozets and your Rolo Tomasi that had a team, like, they had their solid team and they were killing it. But when you're completely DIY, and yeah, we got signed, that was great, but all that does is, not all that does, but that was just helping us fund to make music. Everything else, like booking and management, was predominantly myself. So when you're doing a full-time 50-60 hour week corporate job and trying to get your band like the recognition it deserves, and trying to maintain relationships with your family and friends, it just got to a point for me where I was bored of spending all my annual leave opening shows to 6 people. And I remember being 24 and someone in the industry saying, "Oh, you tick every single box, if only you were 19. Now, imagine, I'm probably more vocally talented now than I was 10 years ago. And that's why I feel like it's still not where it needs to be, because whilst girls are very welcome now, and I can see, like, this summer, it's been amazing being stood with, like, Alice from Lake Malice and Charlie from As Everything Unfolds. To be in a room and there be more than one vagina is really, really humbling. Like, it's really important. But when I was in the scene, I could be playing a festival and honestly be the only girl, apart from girlfriends, in the room. I'll never forget trying to go up on stage and a bouncer practically throwing me off stage saying, no girlfriends are allowed on stage. And I was like, dude, I'm about to play a show. And the promoter had to be like, no, she's in the band, like, she's the singer. And then when I came off stage, he was like, I'm so sorry, like, you're really good. And I was like, please don't, I just can't. So the times have massively changed. I've never felt more welcome and more heard and seen. But it's just a shame that, like, 20-year-old me or younger didn't get that luxury, because I honestly think, had I been given some of the platforms other boys were given just because they were boys, like, I really think my sort of career would have looked very, very different. And I do still worry, just being I'm very open about it. I do still worry about my age and my status, that's all going to get held against me. But then I also have to, the optimist in me has to look and be like, look what you've done in a year. You're still married, you're still in your 30s, you're still a woman. Look what you've achieved. So all I can keep doing is showing up, giving it 180, keep dropping bangers, and hope that one day someone's going to be like, let's give this poor girl a break, shall we? Bloody hell, before she has a meltdown. So to answer your question, there is improvement, but I'd like it more to be like, not just festivals ticking a box to be like, oh, we've met 30% of the criteria to be women, so it will get funded or whatever. Like, I would love it to be more like, and that's not me speaking for every festival, by the way, but like,
yep,
the vibe I get is that there's some kind of criteria, like, oh, we have to have 4 girls on. I would rather it be like, let's listen to the music out there and the good bands get to play. And I feel confident that Dream State would still be up there, because Alid is one of the most talented musicians, and the boys I get to play with now are all individually extremely talented. I get really passionate about this because it's like, when you have been trying,
you should be.
Yeah, when you've been trying for like years, and that's why like the songs I sing and stuff are so like, it's almost like angry, because it's like, I've been here for a long time and no one's heard me or given me that chance. Dream State have given me that chance, and now I'm going to show everyone, like, people are going to remember my name, and anyone who told me in the scene that I ticked almost every box. I remember I used to have white blonde hair, and I haven't dyed it now for like 10 years. I just I've always been a bit of a tomboy, so keep it natural. And I remember like dyeing my hair dark and people being like, oh, it looks so, it was so much better blonde, like, it's a lot more sexier. And I remember just be stood there like, but I can gut roll better than most of the boys on your roster, so why does it matter what color my hair is? So I've never experienced that sort of stuff now. Like, this summer has been a breath of fresh air, and I could bang on about it all the time. It's still not where it needs to be, I don't think, but it's certainly like, it feels like a pleasure now to be in green rooms and have multiple girls that are killing it, part of the show, and at a decent level, like, so we should be.
Perfect. I think that's really well said. We need to probably wrap this up, I think, now. We've got Dream State, Graphic Nature, Bring Me the Horizon, and Sleep Token on your perfect gig. But what venue are they going to play in?
Wembley.
Arena or stadium?
Oh my god. Like, the big one.
The main stadium.
The stadium.
Yeah.
Like, I've done an arena now. I've ticked that off my list. I'm going like next level. I'm a bit of a dreamer, and I always have been. And I think if you don't keep chasing the next thing, you're always going to stay where you are. So chase that stadium. Let's go.
I mean, that's incredible.
Yeah.
That is absolutely fantastic. A great gig. I mean, I'm there. I'm 100% there.
Oh, I'm so sold.
I'm
and it's
hitting
free
for every band, and it's free.
And it's free.
See, it's wonderful. Jeez. Just big hitters constantly. Yeah, I'm in the pit for that. Well, thank you very much.
Thank you.
January 26th, still dreaming. this tour coming up as well. Go and check out all the dates and be sure to catch Dream State on tour.
I'll see you in the pit.